Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family and new viewers from all over the world. We have normal news. We have Truspiracies news tonight. And it's news so incredible you won't believe it. Next week's news today. The problem is you might not be able to tell the difference between the normal news and the Truspiracies conspiracy type news. It's a crazy world out there. And, well, here's one here. Unrest in Iran. Protesters clash with security forces in riot gear. Donald Trump still wants to take over Greenland. True? Or not. We're living through it. So you have that. Eating Earthlings. I'm going to leave that one with you for a moment. Is that true? Or is it some sort of a weird Truspiracy? Who the hell knows these days? I was just talking to somebody today who I think is going to be on the show, maybe tomorrow, as a special guest. But you just can't tell what the hell is real anymore. And even just normal news, regular everyday stories, such as they are, sometimes are just flat out, or appear to be, a fabrication. Because what you're seeing in the real world doesn't match what we're seeing online. Yeah, even the normal news. And what is news? Man bites dog. When I was in journalism school, that's the thing everybody used to like to say when you were in J school. And that's one of the first questions that you explore as a student of journalism and news. What is news? And somebody's going to put up their hand and they're going to pull out that cliche, man bites dog. And I suppose that can be news. But what about eating earthlings? That might be news. And yet, when you think about it, even something like that could be normalized in a society. Cannibalism? That makes you think about human nature, you know. And I'm just winging this stuff. If you haven't figured that out yet, I'm just winging this tonight. But I have thought in the last, well, it's just come top of mind in the last 24 hours because of the stories we're covering today about how freaking cruel and violent and uncaring human beings not can be, but are. They're just downright mean. And yet, we're a civilized society, or so we think, right? Look at what's going on with this president. And I can't believe people are just sitting back as though it's like something normal. Like they're polling. They took a poll to see how much support Trump would have for actually invading Greenland, a founding member of NATO, an ally of the United States. And the result of the poll that I saw today, I didn't read all of the details. I don't have the full all of the data from it, but the headline was 63% of Americans are opposed to Trump following through with a full military invasion of Greenland. Ah, but that means the rest of the country is, cool with it and might support it. Greenland. Think back. Say we were talking about Greenland 6 months ago. Well, maybe not 6 months ago. Let's go back a year. Give them a little bit of slack, right? Just before Trump 2.0. Even now, if another country, say, it's not going to happen. I don't think they have their sights set on it at all. But let's say China invaded Greenland. What would the United States and Canada and other NATO countries do? Go defend them. Fight for them to prevent some other country from taking over Greenland so that we could protect their sovereignty and make sure their country was protected. But this guy wants to do, and 63% say no. The rest say it's okay. No biggie. Cuba, Venezuela, Mexico, Greenland, Panama, Colombia. I told you so. I told you. Quite a while ago. At least, oh man. I keep saying about it. It's been about 2 years that I've been talking about this. And even though I've been telling people, and some people watch every night, it's still not completely sinking in, I don't think. It certainly is not completely sinking in with the experts out there. This, I think, the longest intro before the first little promo in a long time on this program. Because there's this story that I saw on CTV today. It was citing these experts who say that it's still an incredibly long shot. Like it's Trump's not going to invade Canada. Okay. Don't worry. Be happy. Yeah, he may not, have to invade. The information warfare campaign is in high gear, and he will probably take the country without firing a shot. But who the hell knows? A lot of stuff going on out there in Western Canada, feeding into this stuff and the oil and all of that stuff. And then last night, also, yeah, what I should talk about a little bit is the Phil Primo video that we ran last night, which was connected to the Pat King video, which we ran last night, which was connected to the Freedom Convoy stuff and where the money really was all going. And more than that, like how the bank accounts got frozen, why the bank accounts got frozen. And it wasn't just because of the government. It was like an automatic mechanism through the banks, because the money through the donations that had been flowing into the corporation that was set up to capture all to take in all the money by certain people, certain lawyers, certain participants. It wasn't, it shouldn't have been deposited into a personal account, and it was, and that set off red flags and alarm bells. And the next thing you know, that account was frozen, and then more bank accounts got frozen. And it wasn't just because Mark Carney wrote a letter to the National Post. But I'm going to have a little bit more to say about that if I remember to come back to it. Getting old, maybe a little senile. My memory's not as good as it used to be. Yeah, I don't think I'm as sharp these days as I was, say, in my 20s and 30s. My dad, however, doing really well. We went for a visit to the hospital today, and you got another check over by the doctor. Got some pictures taken of his cyber bones. And I think we're going to talk to my dad tonight, because I was also talking to Sandy Sunshine, one of our Mavericks, today about, retro stuff. She called me up and was talking about Second City Television. She was talking about the Unknown Comic on the Gong Show. And you have to be old like me to remember those programs. So all you whippersnappers, you youngsters out there, you're going to have to go to YouTube to know what I'm talking about. And then she mentioned Nash Slash, Canadian musician. And he was very, very cool. A real artist, an experimental musician. And then I got thinking about it, how I got to see Nash the Slash live in this town when I was growing up. Well, I'd already grown up. I was in my early 20s, I guess. And he played the electric violin. He would wrap these surgical bandages around his head, looking like he was the Invisible Man. Of course, though, you could see him. And wow, that guy could play the electric violin. And the night that I saw him, he played with this band at this bar downtown. What was it called? It was called a Call the Office. I was never much into going to bars and stuff, but one of my friends dragged me in there, and he was playing. And they played, I'm pretty sure it was Eleanor Rigby, a cover of that. And it was just amazing. Just the talent and the way they took that song, the way he took that song with that violin and made it his own, a new version of it. It was truly, truly incredible. Anyway, I don't know if we're going to get into too much of that tonight. Maybe we'll run some of it another. It depends how much time we have. If I shut up long enough to get there, but I do want to get my dad on here because she was saying, we got to get away from this crazy ostrich story. And she's been mentioned. She says well, I won't tell you what she said about David Alott, who's been in our chat and on the show a couple of times over the past week or so over those crazy ostriches out in Edgewood, British Columbia. And she said, you gotta stop talking about it, taking advice, giving me back my own advice, really. I was like, yeah. And she said, you got to talk about stuff that's funny and get us cheered up again. And so, I thought of maybe even having Sandy on here tonight. I don't know if we're going to get to that point, but I am going to call my dad. He's not far away because I'm still broadcasting from the temporary world headquarters for Maverick News in my mom's basement, and my dad, who is hard to keep up with at his age, after receiving his new hip and is in recovery, he's just upstairs. But we will use the power of modern cell phone technology to reach out to the mothership from Maverick HQ, temporary, in the bunker a little later in the broadcast, and we will return and start digging into today's top news stories of the day on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow Maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. So let's just, I'm afraid to look. I've queued up the latest post from Donald Trump as reposted by the White House regarding Greenland. So let's go take a look at what El Presidente of Venezuela, acting president of Venezuela, has to say about the United States plan to invade Greenland. I think I think the normal response from the president of Venezuela would likely be something like, we condemn the United States plan to invade a NATO country because we stand with the underdog and would like to protect their sovereignty, and the president of the United States should be a nicer person. Instead, we get this. Because it's the same guy, or so he thinks. He is not the acting president of Venezuela. It is the Gulf of freaking Mexico. He says today the United States needs Greenland for the purpose of national security. It is vital for the Golden Dome that we are building. NATO should be leading the way for us to get it. If we don't, Russia or China will, and that is not going to happen. I think this is actually from yesterday on his Truth Social page. Militarily, without the vast power of the United States, much of which I built during my first term and am now bringing to a new and even higher level, NATO would not be an effective force or deterrent, not even close. They know that, and so do I. NATO becomes far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. Anything less than that is unacceptable. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That from the acting president of Venezuela. Who's in charge of things in the U.S.? Who's the president there? Not sure. This was shown on the Daily Show too, this map, because he says, we're not going to have Russia as a neighbor in our backyard. And it's just like, right here. He's just, some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth is, what's that word? Precious. And yet I think it reflects the psyche of America, because Americans just don't think of it like that, because they just think about the continental United States and, the central portion, and forget about Alaska when they're talking about it and how close it is to Russia. I mean, you can pretty much just look right into Russia's backyard there too. You're in each other's backyards. And not far from Canada either. Yeah, already neighbors. And that's why Putin wants to take over, Alaska. Oh my. Wow. Okay. Where else are we going here? Yeah, so yeah, now with all that, Denmark, government officials, they say they do see what they're saying, a common way forward, because they did meet with Trump officials today, and they had this high-level working group to discuss the future of Greenland. And Danish Foreign Minister Lars Rasmussen. Anyway, Lars Rasmussen. There was a news conference today, and I guess J.D. Vance was there. Marco Rubio was there. They said they had a frank but also constructive discussion. And I don't know where this is going, man, because I don't think it even matters. Honestly, they're going to do what they're going to do. I guess it does matter because if they just I don't know. It's all too off the wall and out of control. Really. Trump saying just the other day, the United States will have Greenland one way or the other, the easy way or the hard way. So let's just wait and see, I guess. Well, yeah, we'll wait and see. Okay, enough of that. I can't take any more. I'm confused as hell and I can't take it anymore. The other big issue tonight, it's still ongoing. The shooting of Renee Good in Minneapolis. This ties into what to the conversation I had, where you can't tell what is real. Did you see the video? Now, without getting into who's right, who's wrong on that, did you see the officer come into contact with the vehicle? I did. And then you saw him walking around after. Didn't appear to be in any pain of any kind. So what would you say the extent of that officer's injuries were? We've heard comments immediately after, I think even from Trump, saying that he had been run over, and others from the Trump administration as well, and government saying that the agent had been run over, that he'd been attacked. You can maybe make some sort of argument that way. I don't know. Don't believe your lying eyes, right? Well, now tonight over on ABC, and part of my discussion about what you can believe, what you can't believe, can't tell what's true anymore. ABC tonight, and other media outlets, other mainstream media. I think even just various media, independents as well. They're all, some of them reporting on this, that the ICE agent suffered internal bleeding. I read that and what is like, I don't know. He must be a hemophiliac. You know what a hemophiliac is? Somebody who bleeds very easily. I'm struggling with this, folks. I'm struggling with this. Well, let's just play this.
She was shot and killed by that ICE agent. And just in the last 24 hours, there are a number of things that we've been learning. Of course, the internal bleeding that we're hearing from sources that the agent suffered, but also we've learned that several federal prosecutors, at least 6 of them who worked out of Minnesota, have now quit the job among, amid concerns about how DOJ is handling this investigation into the shooting. They feel, according to sources, that the DOJ is focusing more on digging up information on the victim, trying to figure out whether she and her partner had any connections to any individuals or groups that have been protesting or impeding the immigration enforcement operations that are been happening here, instead of
the way the justice system should work is the merits of the case and whether charges should be laid against the officer or whether she was at fault. It should be based on that incident. It's because that's really what from a legal perspective, that's what the issue is. It's what happened at that moment. Did the officer act appropriately? Was excessive force used? Were proper procedures followed? Was she resisting arrest? All of those questions. But what are we getting in the investigation? In fact, there really wasn't an investigation of sorts ordered immediately after. The Trump administration basically ordered for more, called for more ICE officers and cracked down harder. Went harder. which brings me back to that word unapologetic. I talked about it the other night, and the way it has been used even in Canada through conservative campaigns, right on campaign signs, unapologetic. And it's a word that's thrown around a lot in MAGA as well. And that's the attitude that I have come to recognize. And I don't think it's healthy. That's why I brought it up the other night. And what are we getting here? Exactly that, this unapologetic attitude. It's like, and you do see it quite often with police agencies, because it is a brotherhood of sorts where they protect their own. And you're getting it within the Trump administration to an extreme degree. And what they're doing with that investigation, obviously, because they're looking for any kind of political ties or this or that, and yet because I guess you would be looking for some sort of motivation or motive for doing what she did, if she did anything at all, and maybe vice versa on the other side. But they're focusing on her, the driver, Renee Good, to see if she has, ties to this activist group or whatever, to paint a certain kind of picture and create a certain kind of narrative. When all that really matters is what happened there at that moment. Except, I would say that that's not all that matters. The other thing that matters is Donald Trump. In a way, I look at that situation and I don't blame either of those people. You have, and this is a perspective. I don't have a fully formed opinion on it, but certainly somebody's binging me. I don't have a fully formed opinion, but I think this is a fair statement. You have a police officer out there who's probably kind of scared, maybe jacked up, a little bit angry. His mind is full of whatever they've been filling these officers' heads with on this immigration campaign to purge. They have an objective. Seems like they might even have quotas to get rid of certain numbers of people. So they're on a sweep, a campaign, I guess, maybe, if that's even real. But if it is real, he seems to be all in on it, and all the officers there. And the approach was pretty aggressive. I got to say, she, a mom, I don't know, I don't see much video from before to put it into perspective or context, but you have a young woman who's, she doesn't appear to be scared when you see the videos, but she, I think, is there thinking she's doing the right thing from her perspective. I didn't get the impression that she was agitated or angry or trying to run anybody over. Didn't get that impression. If that is the conclusion that's reached, I don't think that it would reach the level where you could say that she wasn't doing it intentionally. She looked to me like she was trying to kind of pull away, which, did the wheels turn far enough one way or the other? But the point that I'm making is, why were they there to begin with? Donald Trump. Why were they in the emotional state they were in to begin with? Donald Trump. Why was any of this happening? Because of the Trump policies. Why did it go down the way that it did? Because of the Trump policies. This is not normal. This is news, and I guess it's on the normal news side, but none of that out there is normal, to have a young woman shot in the face, regardless of who was at fault or anything else. It's not normal. It's not good. It's not, certainly not the kind of policing that leads to stronger communities, more frightened communities, not even safer communities, more divided communities. The whole situation out there is a recipe for division, conflict, because of failed policies by really both sides of the political aisle because of what's been going on with immigration and what's been going on with efforts to curb it and now purge it. And people politicizing it, taking certain sides. And again, it's just one of those things that saddens me. I'm not an American. I don't live down there. But when I see this kind of thing happen again, I shake my head. She was shot in the face. She was shot in the face. Human beings are violent. And then that word terrorist comes up. Shot in the face.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right. Back to Greenland for a moment. Trump, Oval Office, media, question, Greenland, taking it by force. Here's his response.
You would potentially acquire Greenland by force. That would be a NATO country.
Well,
the United.
that.
Are you saying that? Would you do
No,
that?
you're
by
saying
force?
that.
Would you
I
acquire
didn't
that
say
by
it.
force
No,
right
you're
now?
telling me that that's what I'm
I
gonna
think
do.
we're-
You don't know what I'm gonna do.
So what are the options?
Your
then?
network
Because
doesn't know
the,
either.
the Danish foreign minister said that there's still fundamental differences.
Low
out there
audio.
with Rubio and with the vice president. Are you willing to leave the NATO alliance in order to get what you want with Greenland? What are the options right
Well,
now?
I wouldn't be telling you what I'm willing to do, certainly. I'm not gonna give up options, but it's very important. Greenland's very important for the national security.
Saying that you would.
Oh, he's so coy. Power corrupts, man. It, I don't know. It's, I think you have to be slightly psychotic to be the president of the United States because you have so much power. And I don't know, and I understand that sometimes it's necessary to use military force, but I'm just wondering, have there been any U.S. presidents that have not killed people? Imagine getting up in the morning and knowing, or that you might need to kill somebody, or you plan to kill somebody in a military strike or whatever. You're going to go down to the Situation Room and watch a video feed as your orders are carried out to kill people. Like, I'm not in the military. I never wanted to be in the military because I never wanted to be in a position where someone might order me to go kill somebody. And I, especially if it was somebody, and I came to this conclusion when I was a kid, it was like, bad idea joining the military, because once you're in there, you have to follow orders. And if somebody is elected or seizes power, and you don't agree with their policies, they might send you to some place and have you kill people for a reason that you don't even agree with. So you're doing it for someone else. I just couldn't fathom the idea of that. Thinking, if push came to shove and my country was being threatened or we went to war and I knew what the cause was at the time, I might consider at that point joining something to defend my country. But I wouldn't want to just join the military in peacetime as like a job, as a soldier, because you don't know what's going to come down the road and you don't know who you're ultimately going to be working for, taking orders from. So I never wanted to put myself in that position. So I didn't. I don't know if I would have been a very good soldier. So I'm a maverick. I'm like, don't think I'm going to do that. Nope. Always questioning things. And Canada, still under fire, still under attack, still under pressure because of Trump's tariff policies. Foreign Affairs Minister for Canada, Anita Anand, today talking with reporters about the future of Canada-China relations as Mark Carney is engaging in negotiations with China. And I think they're looking at increasing trade abroad with countries other than the United States, something like 50% over the next, I think it's 5 years. So that's a lot. That's 10% a year and a big pivot, big opportunities, but also likely some pain. Here's Anand from the news conference today.
The first visit to China by Canadian Prime Minister since 2017. Prime Minister Carney received an explicit invitation from President Xi to come to China after conversations with Premier Li and President Xi in the fall of 2025. I came to Beijing in October to begin to lay the groundwork for the recalibrated relationship between Canada and China. Over the course of the next few days, we will discuss the trade relationship between our two countries, and we will also examine other opportunities for collaboration between our two countries, given the strong people-to-people ties between Canada and China. Je voudrais prendre un moment pour souligner l'importance de cette visite. La première visite d'un Premier ministre canadien depuis 2000.
I'm going to pull a lot of that because I know that we don't have many people who speak French watching. So get back to the Anglais.
This is a new government with a new prime minister, a new foreign policy, and a new geopolitical environment. In this moment of economic stress for our country, it is necessary for us to diversify our trading partners and to grow non-U.S. trade by at least 50% over the next 10 years.
How much pressure are you?
The work that we will continue to do is to diversify supply chains while continuing to stand up for Canadian interests at every turn.
Are you optimistic? Are you optimistic about a deal for canola? Are you optimistic for a deal that would reduce Chinese levies on canola?
The conversation has been productive. The negotiations are still continuing. We are here to represent all sectors of the Canadian economy, and the work continues over the next number of days. We are going to be, as I said, ensuring that all stress sectors of the Canadian economy are brought into the negotiations and the conversation.
Okay. We know the deal. We've been talking about it for a while. We should just do more business with China. If the United States will let us. Don't count on it. I'm not sure about that pipeline. Brian Lilly was pointing out that the, what's the name of that First Nations group out on the West Coast? I can't remember the name. It's out and slips my mind. But politicians meeting with them this week to consult, or I don't know what it was. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but Lilly pointing out that group is not actually a First Nations community. It's basically an NGO with a name that makes it sound like a First Nations band, part of a sovereign nation of some kind within our nation, but it isn't. But then he went further and said that these groups are funded by American anti-oil environmental groups or something to that effect. And I thought, that's still not the whole story. That's meant to mislead. This is why you can't really tell what is going on. It's very apparent at this point. And if you haven't clued in yet, that is sort of true, but the guys, the reason that pipeline has run into so many roadblocks and continues to is because the anti-oil environmental groups that are putting the blockades up, that are like receiving this money from like anti-oil groups. Now this might be in the conspiratorial truspiracies vein tonight, or maybe it's real. I think it's more real. It's not what it appears to be. It's upside down. They're not anti-oil. They are, and they're not environmental groups. They are big oil. It's big oil creating a group or funding a group to control a group that is an environmental group on the surface. But what they're really doing is the reason they're blocking pipeline construction in Canada or being opposed to it is not because they are opposed to oil. They're opposed to Canada building a pipeline to the West Coast to supply Asia with oil, because Trump and the Americans don't want it going to another market. They want it all flowing south to refineries in the U.S., Line 5. They want it going down to the Gulf Coast. And then they get to buy it cheap because there's no competition. So they already do, they buy it for less than market value because we have only one customer. Now, last night, Phil Primo, I ran a full video, but almost 20 minutes long, talking about why bank accounts got locked down, as he was making reference to the series of videos that Pat King, the freedom fighter, convoy participant, who has been laying out new information, or maybe not even new information, but information about the money, all like the millions and millions of dollars donated to the Freedom Convoy, the biggest protest of its kind in Canadian history. But pointing out that I don't even know if he realized what he was pointing out. But the reason the bank accounts got locked down initially and triggered more bank accounts being locked down after that was not because the government did it because they were trying to stifle free speech. It was because the money was not being moved properly from the GoFundMes and the places where it was coming in. And it wound up, $1 million got deposited into Tamara Litch's personal bank account. It was put out in front as sort of like the figurehead of the whole convoy, right? And that sets off alarm bells in the banking system automatically. And then the banks are obligated under banking rules, regardless of the circumstances out there politically. It's like, wait a minute, why is $1 million from this crowdfunding source going into a personal bank account? Where's it going? And it's all a mechanism to prevent fraud. And it was done even though the accountant, Chad Arrows, who had been working with the lawyers, separatists, who were out in front and controlling all of that, he's told, don't put the money in a personal banking account. But they did it anyway. And then that triggered more bank accounts to be frozen. Now, Phil Primo says Pat King owes him an apology and a thank you because he's been talking about this for a long time, and he has. And I've talked to Phil Primo and some others, but I'll focus on Phil. And I said, thank you, Phil. And because what he did last night is he really tied the whole thing up, like wrapped it all up in an understandable presentation, because he's been so focused on it so long that he's really zeroed in, and he tells it the story, which is very accurate, I think, what he's saying in a way that is understandable for most people. Now, that being said, I need to make a couple of statements and make, I want to address something that I don't think was entirely accurate in what he was saying. First of all, any allegations in that video have not been, that may involve anything illegal. Whether anything was illegal, I don't know. But the point is, not proven in a court of law. So innocent until proven guilty. These are allegations that were made. Secondly, Phil was making reference to the banking system and the Federal Reserve and the Bank of Canada, and a case called the Comer case, which goes back, I think, to like 2011. I could be getting the year wrong. In any event, that was a case put forward by attorney Rocco Galati, and it was a case about whether Canada should be engaging in monetary policy by borrowing money from private banks instead of just providing interest-free loans to all levels of government through the Bank of Canada, which the people on the Comer side say was going on in Canada as a matter of policy, and they would argue a constitutional provision until about 1974. It's not accurate, the narrative that or the story that they tell. I don't think Rocco Galati was, I don't think he had really a valid case, and I'm certain he didn't, because monetary policy is not, I think the court was quite right to point out that it is not a matter that the courts can administer or rule on or force. Monetary policy is something that is political. Even though there may be references to how the Bank of Canada is supposed to operate, it's something that there has to be a mechanism in their ability for the government to adjust monetary policy, even the approach that it takes. So where am I going with it? I just need to say that little portion of it, Phil, I think, was still on target with it. It's just that the history and the conclusions that he's coming to, I think, are a little off mark, because I don't think his analysis or understanding of central banking is really accurate. But he is on target, and it's still worthwhile listening to him. And I'm not, trying to pick what he said apart last night, because it was extremely valuable and very insightful, and one of the best assessments, I think, of that whole aspect of the freedom movement and the convoy and all of that stuff that I've heard, period. He just sums it up and explains a lot of things that have really confused a lot of people. But that being said, the reason I bring it up is because he's on target, but just missing. And it's such an important piece. He, as a result of, because he's talking about all this central banking stuff, he's talking about what will happen if Alberta separates and they take their pension, their CPP portion, the Canadian Pension Plan, and the Alberta Pension Plan, and the economy as a whole, and they become independent and then get swallowed up by the US. And he's talking about a plan to essentially make the Alberta currency or even the Canadian currency part, to get rid of it and have the Canadian dollar absorbed into the Federal Reserve so that our dollar becomes part of the US dollar. That's a simplified version of what he was saying. That's important. But what he was saying all around it was just a little bit inaccurate. But the reason I just bring it up is because it's all about the oil. The dollar is all about the oil. And the people in Alberta are not being told this. I've talked about it many times because the US dollar is based on the value, or has been until just recently, based on the value of oil, because around 1974, in the mid 1970s, the US was taken off the gold standard, and Nixon made a deal. I think it was Nixon who made a deal with Saudi Arabia so that all the oil they were purchasing would be purchased, would only be sold, that only the transactions would only be done in US dollars in order to prop up the US dollar, to create demand for US dollars. That's what helped keep the US dollar in use as the world reserve currency. Well, that's changing, you see, because of BRICS nations' de-dollarization globally, but the US dollar no longer on the gold standard. It's really kind of on the oil standard, right? And taking it off the gold standard allowed the US economy to expand through their fractional reserve banking system, but by making sure there was something to back it up, which was demand for the dollar because of the sale of oil through US dollars constantly. Well, the deal with Saudi Arabia is different now. It's changed. U.S. oil reserves, well, they're still the biggest energy producer in the world. That wasn't even the case a few years ago. And you know what? The reason the U.S. oil industry is as robust as it is right now is because of fracking, because they've been able to use water injected into the earth to force oil up. But how long is that going to go on? And with de-dollarization and the US dollar still in need of some sort of support to keep the demand up as other countries de-dollarize, stop using US dollars, mainly BRICS nations like China, Russia, they're saying, screw you, USA. Russia will sell to China oil instead of going through the normal channels on the international market to pay market value for oil, and they're just settling these transactions internationally in non-US dollars and conducting other trade as well without US dollars. So it's diminishing demand for US currency. So the way to increase demand or increase the value of the US dollar or prop up support for it is to, like you could seize oil from Venezuela and use those oil reserves to prop up the dollar, as saying, like, that's now more oil, more natural resources that we can use to insert confidence behind the US dollar. And the oil being sold out of Venezuela must be purchased in US dollars. And that increases demand. And that's how that's what they're using to prop up the US dollar and prevent the US economy from completely collapsing. That's also why they're so focused on Alberta. When he says he doesn't need anything from Canada, the US doesn't need anything from Canada, he's lying. And he wants the Alberta oil so bad because they've got that $30 trillion debt. And as he pulls back and the economy in the US shrinks, they need something to prop up the US dollar, as other countries aren't using it as much anymore. Supply and demand. You have all these US dollars out on the world market, and when other countries stop using them and there's less demand for them, the dollar tanks. So you see, Phil, That's what it's all about. And I'm sure that you are dialed in on that. And maybe we don't agree on the Comer case, but I think we're in agreement and alignment on this, that Mr. Trump, and you said it last night, is saying, come to Papa, and trying to create the conditions where we can take over Alberta and maybe even all of Canada to get those oil resources and other resources, but especially the oil resources. And then all of the transactions are done in US dollars, and the United States becomes filthy, filthy rich, which also brings me to Mr. A-Lot, who has been using that phrase dirty money, making reference to the small donations that he's been making in our chat on Rumble, which have been unsolicited, but in there nonetheless, and calling it dirty money. And I've been questioning, some of the ethics around how money is flowing to certain social media influencers and so on. But he's also been talking about having people move to Texas. And it's just that idea of dirty money. When you seize oil that doesn't belong to you, and then you prop up an economy and say like Texas with oil refineries that are will soon have, and I think even the first oil was sold today from Venezuela, probably from one of those oil tankers that was seized. That's oil that's flowing into the state of Texas to prop up the economy there, and it's being done in a way that, they're using dirty oil, and that translates into jobs and additional wealth and affects home prices and so on. So yeah, you go down to Texas and you might enjoy some of the benefits from some of that dirty oil money. I'm sure that you would. But I don't know that really the money's going to flow to the people. The big oil companies for sure. And that's part of the conversation I had too with somebody that probably going to be on the program tomorrow night. And maybe I'll mention who it is later in the program. I'm going to be talking about all this stuff, I think, tomorrow. Ethics, media ethics, money, dirty money, clean money, all these things. A lot to think about. Whether you should move to the States, stay in Canada, if you should be a patriot, Donald Trump style, or a Canadian loyalist. Somehow you still have some choice here because it's almost a free country, even today. It's amazing, isn't it? It's true. I think. I'll be back.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
More normal news. More normal news. Newsflash. Nearly a third of Canadians believe U.S. may try to invade Canada. New poll. A third of Canadians, that would be 33 1/3%, approximately, believe U.S. may try to invade Canada. That from a new poll. Now back to your normal news. U.S. completes first sale of Venezuelan oil valued at $500 million, official says. Yeah, that's normal. It's not stolen or anything. They just took it. More normal news. Donald Trump flips the bird at a auto worker in Ford yesterday. Video going viral. Conservative MAGA types think that's awesome. They think that's normal behavior from a grown human, an adult male person, thing, whatever, president, psycho. Fuck. I'm sorry. The president of the United States flipped off an auto worker. Cause that's what the president does.
Here's Trump at the Ford plant. Biden's was performative and it looked weak. Trump's at the Ford. I don't know what this guy thought POTUS was going to do. This guy starts heckling POTUS. Watch.
Jesus.
You need that meme where you put the glasses on him. So he told him, I can't tell you what he told him. He yelled that the man should go and do something unflattering to himself and then raised the one finger salute. Just didn't care. He's like, yeah, we have you. You. And here it is. Wait for it. Pow.
Yeah, Trump was, the heckler, I think, was, saying, go F yourself. You're protecting pedophiles or something to that effect. So Trump did the classy thing. Then Hillary and Bill, they're refusing to testify, and that's the normal news. President flips off auto worker today. What was the, I think the worst thing from, the before times when I was a youngling was Trudeau got caught using the F word. And then he was embarrassed or knew that it was damaging politically at the time, I guess, because times were just a little more reserved. And so he turned it into fuddle-duddle. Oh, no, I didn't say that. I said fuddle-duddle. Politics. But now when the president flips somebody off, yeah, Donald, way to go. Where do you think the Tate brothers got the blueprint for their BS? God, those guys drive me crazy. Why do people follow that? I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of fakery. I don't think they're probably not nearly as rich as they let on. They flash this and they flaunt money and they sit around and they make these stupid videos, and it's just, I don't know, it's just sensationalistic stupidity to me. I don't watch this shit, but that's also normal news these days. Entertainment, I guess. That's the thing, though, with Trump. He's just such a classy guy that everything has become tabloid. It's become flea market, that it's just so, I guess the word would be tacky. Tacky. I don't know. I'm not picking that up because I don't know who it is. Okay, let's get into the Earthling thing. I'm sorry, Mr. Walker is not available at the moment. Please leave a message and we'll call you back as soon as possible. Stop eating fellow Earthlings. Eating Earthlings. What's that all about? Well, this is normal news. This is actually sort of kind of normal news. It's about it's about animal abuse, and it's about the banning of, you're not allowed to boil lobsters in the UK now, and people wondering if Canada should do it as well. So I thought, well, let's talk about that a little bit tonight, and animal abuse, animal rights. You know, this has been going on for a long time. I don't see any of those. I don't see Mr. A-Lot pumping money into a Save Our Lobsters campaign. I don't see the protesters out there upset about it. You know, you go to a restaurant, you get lobster, man. They're boiling those things alive. Are you aware? I would think most people are. Let's take a look at how that's done, shall we? They're screaming for justice. Viewer discretion advised. I am about to show you food. Food alert, food alert.
Lobster boil, take one.
Go. Oh, go in.
Keep going.
The way people do it. How do you feel about that? And do you think putting those rubber bands
Lobster
around
boil, take one.
their claws is right?
Go.
So they can't open them?
Oh, go in.
Boiling live lobsters has been banned in the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Norway, and New Zealand. The Lobster Council of Canada's executive director, Jeff Irvin, is watching the new policy unfold in the UK.
If they are dealing with live lobster, that they are no longer able to boil them live. So they'll have to kill them in a different way. They'll have to stun them, or they'll have to cut them in half with a large knife.
In an industry worth almost $3 billion annually to Atlantic Canada, Irvin says it's still too early to know what the UK's decision will mean for the Maritimes.
It's too early to know what the impact will be, but I don't expect it will have a massive impact. We have 40 other countries we sell to. We produce frozen products that they can buy and not be subject to this issue.
On the streets of Shediac, which is known as the lobster capital of the world, many say boiling live lobster is a long-standing tradition.
Rather boil the lobster, we're so used to that, so I don't think I'd change anything.
Part of living, it's a substance of any kind, like beef, like any other animal that we kill to cook.
As long as your pot boils, you dump it in head first, and that ends it right there from lobster. And that's the only way to eat it as far as I'm concerned. We cook it every year. That's the only way to eat it.
Dalhousie University professor Shelley Adamo says animal welfare is important, but adds that the science is unclear on this topic.
I really don't think lobsters have the capacity for feeling pain, certainly not the way we do.
Adamo says European-style stunning to kill lobster quickly could impact restaurants.
The equipment costs about $7,000. Could be a huge burden on many restaurants, so they may just decide not to bother to serve lobster if they have to buy this additional piece of equipment.
While Europe's recent moves have forced a closer look on how lobsters are treated, the Lobster Council of Canada says there is nothing new on the table. So that means it's business as usual for lobster lovers. Boiling live lobster.
There's gotta be this. Oh my God! Oh my God! No! No! Oh, I shouldn't laugh. I just go. Yeah, right? Oh my God. Oh my God. See, that's what they wanted you to see at the ostrich farm. They just wanted to see a bunch of these kids being done. They wanted to follow up. That's how they had all the life. They're kind of they got a nice. They got the facility. Oh!
I just tried these amazing.
Today's my birthday, so we boil lobsters. We start out with the spice.
Ooh.
We go in with lemons.
You guys eat lobster?
A bag of little a bag of little potatoes. Corn. I brought it back to a boil. Now we're going in with these Maine lobsters. 3 of them. One for me, one my wife, and one for Lily. Now we're going to shut it down.
Just
go in with 2 pounds of shrimp and some snow crabs.
Oh, they killed the shrimps.
And now we eat.
And the crabs.
Today's my birthday, so we boil lobsters.
Happy
we start out with
It's not Sunday. It's
Porn and scrolling are the
So I wanted to.
What's that?
Porn and scrolling are the most expensive habits a high IQ man can have. He says he's fine, but he hasn't felt truly focused in years. He calls it burnout, but it's really avoidance. He wants success, but every time things start going right, he finds a way to mess it up. He overthinks, overplans, and underacts. He's tired, but can't rest. Resting feels like losing. And deep down, he's scared, not of failure, but of what happens if he actually wins. That's why we created Wisey, a CBT-based system designed to help high IQ men retrain their brain, rebuild focus, and finally stop self-sabotaging.
Well, it's a damn good thing I don't have a high IQ, or I'd be right in there. Stupid people need not apply. When we come back, let's talk to my dad on the other side of this. I didn't know that was coming up. That's also normal news.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, this is the temporary Maverick News World headquarters in Mom's basement to the mothership. Over. Hello, over. Mothership. Mothership, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, it's not it's the fathership.
That's right.
Okay.
The king of the fleet.
Yeah, that's right. Well, do not go sailing anywhere near Venezuela. Danger alert. Possible missiles being fired. Steer clear of Venezuela with the fathership. Okay.
Okay. I got you. I hear you.
Okay, that's good. Oh, you're coming in loud and clear tonight. You must be very, very close. I'm getting feedback. In fact, it's so close.
Okay.
Anyway, hi, Dad. What's that?
Captain.
I'm sorry, Captain. Yes, Captain. Captain Dad. Hey, okay, so everybody's listening. the whole world is watching. It's not to make you nervous or anything, but I've been broadcasting from the basement, and everybody is like, "Why are you in your mom's basement?" And well, it's my parents' basement. It's also my dad's. And I've been telling them why I'm here, because you got your hip replaced. So yeah, and then I thought maybe before you told us the joke, share your joke with us, because people love your jokes here. I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about your experience with your hip operation and the Canadian healthcare system. So, how are you feeling?
I tell you, I went in hospital December 2nd to have my hip replaced, my right hip. I never experienced such great service from anyone and at every time in my life, and I've been in the hospital quite a few times. They were the nicest, friendliest, most professional people you would ever want to deal with. And that right from the doctor to the nurses to the attendants at the rooms. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
It's true. I'm sorry, people who really want to hate Canada and hate the government and hate the healthcare system, but it's true. Every time we went up there, because I went with you to, on each occasion to University Hospital, from the people at the front door, the ladies down there, to the nurses that you come into contact with, the people making the appointments, the people taking care of you in the room, the doctors, everyone had a smile on their face. They were all so darn friendly. It was incredible. I got to say that it was pretty freaking incredible. And so so to tell people how long you had to wait for your operation, Dad.
Well, approximately 4 months.
Yeah.
From the family doctor, from the time I seen my family doctor and complained about the pain in my hip, until I got a call from the specialist to go and have it done, was approximately 4 to 5 months at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have been. In fact, I thanked my family doctor for getting me in so quick. He said, sometimes we can do that. And it worked out very, very well.
Yeah. There have been a lot of big improvements to the level of care and the service coming through the healthcare system, I'd say over at least the last 10 years. And I have to tip my hat to the Conservative government of Ontario, because healthcare is really a provincial thing. It isn't a federal thing in Canada, so people get confused. But some federal impact there or influence, but no, it's an Ontario thing. And man, like I have to say, I'm truly, truly impressed and grateful. And you tell people how old you are, if you want to.
I don't know what.
How old are you?
I'm only 94.
Oh, right. And so that in itself surprises a lot of people, because you hear so often it's like, well, when you get past a certain age, they won't even do anything for you anymore. They just let you die. But there you are, 94 years old. And we went to see the doctor today, and he said, because I was in the room with you, and he said, after you were talking about how you were feeling and how well you were recovering, and he said, well, that's why I don't have a cap on the age, because you're doing well. So as long as you're strong enough and healthy enough and you can benefit from it, we'll do the operation. And they did. And tell us what you told the doctor about how you're recovering. It's been 6 weeks. I didn't realize I've been here 6 weeks now. But after 6 weeks, how's it going?
It's going great. I can get up, walk around, no problems. Mind you, there's a little stiffness in the hip, but that's because of the muscles. Yeah. And I've been doing my physiotherapy every day. And starting next week, I have to go to a physiotherapy clinic. That's all prearranged, and it's all set up to go. Not a problem.
Yeah. What was your doctor's name? Dr.
McDonald.
McDonald. Yeah.
McDonald.
So I met him today for the first time, but Even he was like incredibly friendly,
Oh, yeah.
amazingly friendly. Yeah. Pretty incredible stuff. So then, then we were eating dinner a little while ago, and for all our Mavericks out there, my dad says this, so when you going home? And I'm like, well, what's the matter? Don't you want me around any? You're kicking me out now? Because the doctor said no restrictions now. You're still in recovery, but you can do whatever you want, he said.
Yep.
Yeah, that scares me.
But I don't want you to go. I don't want you to go right away because it's snoring very hard out. You might need you here tomorrow to clean out the driveway.
Yeah. Well, at least I have some purpose in life. Yeah, so, clearing the snow. That's okay. Did they try to murder you up there, or have your death contribute to the depopulation of the planet or anything weird like that? I don't think they did that, did they? No. No, I didn't. No, that didn't happen. So yeah, it went very well.
They didn't rush out of there either. You know.
Yeah.
They day after surgery, you stay in one night, and they checked you out real close.
Yeah.
And they had me up walking a little bit. They said, you know, I think we're going to keep you in an extra night here just to be sure. So we want to make sure that you're quite capable of getting home on, without any problems. So they didn't rush you out. They didn't rush you to do anything that they didn't think you could do. It was just absolutely great treatment. A lot of
It really was. It was. And every time we went up there, I think there was at least one person that you ran into that knew you. So that happened again today. You met, there you are, you're walking into the other area to go see the doctor after you got your x-rays. And who was that came out? You don't have to say his name. That was somebody you knew from down around Long Point, right? Yeah. And, yeah. And then they got their hip done too. He recovered even quicker, he said, because I think he said it had only been 1 week or 2 weeks, and he was already walking with no cane. Yeah. So pretty darn incredible stuff. And here, yeah.
Mind you, he was about 50 years younger than me.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. And then the doctor, he says, you know, you can do anything you want. And I'm like, oh no. And I have to say, I don't ever want to do this for you again, because you do not listen. And you kept running away from me every time we would go somewhere, and I was supposed to be there to make sure you didn't fall, and you just kept taking off on me. You just pew, off you go. I'm like, wait, I don't have the door to the van closed yet. And you go, it's okay, I'm fine. I'm gonna have to open this door for this other lady. No, it's my job to open the door. See, you took my job away from me. But oh well. Here's a question: how much did all this cost you?
Didn't cost me anything.
I know. That's the other crazy thing, right? Actually, it did cost something today. It cost us for parking.
Oh, $6.
$6 at a major hospital. Like, this is a major hospital in a real city. A university teaching hospital.
Yeah.
And the cost of parking today, $6. Like, I would have expected, every time I went up there, I was blown away, because normally, like, parking, get ready to fork over, I don't know, $20 to $50, depending, and no, $6. I'm like, oh my God, we could still have money for lunch. So that was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
You ever, what, Mom?
Then he took him home for lunch to save the money.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah. I'm not sharing my change. You're going home. Craft dinner for you. We didn't have craft dinner. No, it's okay. That's okay. Oh my God. Okay. So next, okay. we're going to get into your joke because Sandy, who watches this program, called today and said that she wanted something on the program that would cheer people up because all the news is so crazy and negative out there, right?
Oh yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll get my dad on because everybody likes your jokes. So, but before we get to the jokes, to the joke, I think you're going to tell the snail joke, right?
No, well, I can do that one too.
Okay, we'll do that one. We'll maybe get two jokes, but I want to ask you, do you ever eat lobster? You're not really into lobster, right? No. They're banning the boiling of lobster in the UK, and some people think they should stop it here too.
I heard that.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
That's okay because I don't eat lobster anyhow.
Yeah. Do you think that it seems like it's pretty painful? It would be pretty painful to just drop them in there live like that. You know, when you remember we used to take me fishing over at the Fish and Game Club here in town.
Oh yeah.
And well, anywhere we went fishing really. And when I would catch, I used to go back in those ponds and go fishing with my friends and stuff too, just on our own. And we would go bass fishing back there and catch smallmouth bass. And I'd bring them home, and you probably remember there were photos and stuff of us bringing those fish home. And we used to go over there all the time on summer vacation. And with the lobster thing, it reminded me today of doing that because I would never fillet the fish, never clean the fish until I made sure it was killed. So I would always stab the fish through the skull right into the brain to make sure it was dead before I started, cutting it up. But it always, I never liked doing the knife in the head part, never liked it. Oh, I never did get you to tell the story while we're at it. Do you remember over at that Fish and Game Club a long time? Maybe you remember, maybe not, but you took me over there and they had all those ducks over there. Geese, yeah. But they had some ducks too. And they did have some ducks at one point because maybe you don't remember this, but I remember it like yesterday. I've told people this story and they sold the ducks to people. And you went over there with me and you'd purchased some of these things, but they were live ducks and you were chopping the heads off the ducks so that people could take them home to cook them. Do you remember that? No,
I don't remember that.
No? Well,
I might have been drinking in those days.
I do remember that. I don't know why. I was really young. But it was just you and I over there because you were the president of the club at the time. And I went over and you were chopping the heads off these birds and you'd chop the head off. And then, of course, the headless bird would run around a little bit and then fall over. Right. And so I told people that story, and I don't know if they believe me or not, but that's just reality. Like, that's what happens when you want to eat a duck. You got to kill the darn thing. Right.
That's right.
Yeah, well, you did that. That was the way it was done over there because that was just a Fish and Game Club. I don't remember why they were selling the ducks or whatever. And I remember the lady that lived there to kind of as a caretaker with her husband. What was her name? Eunice, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
Lloyd. And then she would go outside and all the geese and the ducks or whatever they were, and she'd like bring out the food and call them and they'd all come and she had names for them all and pets and stuff like that. But that day Daffy got beheaded. And then we brought that thing home and you did a bunch of them for people. You were chopping the heads off left and right. They were running around like ducks with their heads cut off. Oh my. I told that story to help people. I thought maybe try to help people keep the stupid ostrich story out in British Columbia in perspective, but I'm not sure it helped very much. Now I think they just think they probably all think I'm a duck hater now.
No.
Well,
I don't know much about that ostrich story, but I've heard that those ostriches had bird flu, and people wanted to for sell them on the market for food. And
Yeah,
I
well,
think, geez, I wouldn't want to feed them to my dog if they had bird flu.
Mm.
Never know, you know.
yeah.
I couldn't.
Well, that's
Anyhow.
that's not exactly the story, but yeah, that's ultimately what they were trying to prevent is sick birds from getting into the food chain, whether it's ostriches or ducks or chickens, right? So, yeah. Anyway, a lot of people upset about all that stuff. Probably a lot of people upset with me now for talking about the deheaded ducks. Oh well, that's life, folks. I mean, if you want to eat, unless you're a vegetarian. You're gonna have to chop the head off a duck, or you have your cow killed so that you can go to your Burger King and chow down. Yeah.
How about there's a yoinkers running around?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you like pork chops.
Yeah.
You know. Yep.
Yeah. Your milk comes not from the supermarket but from a farm. So.
That's right.
Yeah. People are, I don't know, insulated these days. So. I don't know. Anyway, so all of that going on, but so I thought maybe, well, okay, first let's get the because we were talking about the ostriches, let's get the snail joke because it's almost like a fish or a crustacean or something. I don't know. Right? So tell us the snail joke because let's just say that for the sake of tonight that snails are people too, just like ostriches and lobsters. Okay. With rights. Okay.
I'll tell you a little snail joke.
Yeah.
Apparently this snail goes into a car dealership and buys a real fancy, fast sports car. And when he asked the dealership if he would paint 2 big red S's, one on each the driver's side door and one on the other passenger side door. Well, the salesman's they were confused about this, and he said, I really appreciate you buying this car, but why the S's on the door? And the salesman said, well, I like people when I'm going down the road say, look at that S cargo.
Yeah, I know. So okay.
Listen, you were talking about doctors and whatever.
Yeah.
I could see my doctor just the other day, and when I was there, I mentioned to him that my wife was getting a little hard of hearing, and he said, "But why do I say that?" I said, "Well, sometimes I talk to her and speak to her, and she doesn't answer me." So he said, "Well, what can I do?" I asked, "What could I do?" He said, "Well, go home and give her a little test." He said, "Stand 15 feet behind her when she's doing something and ask her what she's doing. And if she doesn't answer, move up 5 feet. If she doesn't answer, move up real close." So I said, okay. So I came home, and she was in the kitchen getting dinner ready. So I said, "What's for dinner, dear?" I was up 15 feet behind her. She never answered me. So I moved up to 10 feet. "What's for dinner, dear?" And she never answered me. So I moved up to 5 feet and asked the same question, and still no answer. So I put right up to her ear, and I said, "Honey, what's for dinner?" She turned around to me and said, "I've already told you 3 times. Chicken."
Uh-huh. What's the what?
She's not the one that was needed to have something done about her hearing. It was me.
That's right. You need there's one more joke you should tell tonight. I just thought about it because when we were sitting up at the hospital and we didn't sit there very long. They got in pretty quick today, but the TV was on. They had the news on, and then that story about the Clintons came on the TV about how they're refusing to testify about the Epstein stuff. And and then you told me the Clinton joke. You want to share that with people here? They'll appreciate that one.
Okay. Quite a few years ago, Billy Hillary Clinton, of course, and Hillary went to see her doctor, and the doctor told her, "Mrs. Clinton," he said, "you're pregnant." Well, now she was really upset. And she got on the phone and she phoned Bill. And She said, Bill, how did you do this to me? Why didn't you take precautions? You know I didn't want to have children. And she's just hollering and shouting at him. And there was a pause. And finally he said to her, who is this?
Okay, I kind of get it. Yeah. All right. Yep. Okay. All right. That'll do for tonight.
Okay, buddy.
All right. This is the Maverick News temporary world headquarters in Mom and Dad's basement. Signing off to the fathership. Thank you. Love you. Over and out.
Okay. Have a good night, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'll be back on the other side with just a little bit of the Truspiracy stuff. But seems like that Epstein thing just ain't dying.
They both look clean, but the guest list redacted, if you know what I mean. No files exist, just a little twist, nothing to see here. Move along, folks, the truth's in the vault with the dirty jokes. No names released, justice deceased to protect the victims. And Donald Trump, shh, don't say the name, you'll get dumped. They dance with the girls too young to vote, a private jet and a suicide note. One's in a grave, the other still tweets. The truth took a dive 6,000 feet. The cameras broke, that's not a joke. The guards were napping, the logs were gone, and everyone smiled like nothing's wrong. Nobody talks, just shadow walks. National security took the stage while justice quietly disengaged. We can't release the names to protect the victims. And also Donald Trump. Coincidence? Just dumb luck. Right? Another sealed file. That crocodile smile. We did our best, says the DOJ, while the truth just fades away. Another new spin. No one will win except the rich guys with gold ID cards and closets full of secrets behind steel bars. Just a little glitch, a billionaire's privilege. That's the sound of the case closed.
Yeah, I'm just looking on the chat and I see that Lori's in there and she says, I'm so old. I remember having a debate with Rick 3 years ago about Medicare for all. Rick argued that Canada's socialist healthcare was evil and the US for-profit healthcare system was superior. I did indeed. I did. But it was nuanced. And I still say that like if you can get healthcare, if you have insurance in like a Texas, where I did go through the system because I had emergency surgery down there, the care is like stellar, world class. And I can tell you too that up here it's also, you know, but if you don't have insurance down there, you're totally screwed. And so your experience is going to vary widely. Up here, there have been periods when it's been really bad, and I just have to say, Doug Ford, thank you. Premier of Ontario, thank you. like seriously, because even in the last few years, there has been, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it is like a dramatic improvement, because I have had a lot of trouble in the healthcare system here over the years. Can't get family doctors, just all kinds of issues, wait times. But see, I've been talking about this, and what Ford has done is he's working with people on both sides of the political aisle. The liberals, the conservatives, they're coming together. They're working things out. And so he's injected a little bit of privatization here, and I can't say exactly all of the things that they've been doing, but it is very apparent in the level of service, the quality of service you're getting at these hospitals. Because I've been in emergency rooms, like in the emergency department, a couple of times in the past year. Wait times down, the quality of care, unbelievable compared to the way it was even just a few years ago. I mean, I was there waiting for what they got me in pretty quick, and then Mr. Walker, would you like a heated blanket? Mr. Walker, your cell, do you need a charger for your cell phone? I'm like, where am I? The Hilton? It was amazing both times, and that's down in Chatham, which is a smaller town too. So usually the service is not quite as good in a smaller town, but pretty damn good. And then this going on here with my dad. Yeah, folks, they did not try to murder him. They didn't try to add him to the depopulation statistics. No, they took incredible care of him. And even though he is 94, I keep saying 93, he's alive and kicking, like seriously kicking. He's ready to start driving again. And there you go too, man. Like people saying that everything in the world sucks, and no. Today people are living longer than ever before and living a higher quality of life than ever before. Right here in Canada, and in many parts of the US too, but yeah, right here in Canada. And you don't need to be rich to benefit from all of that. And tonight I am really grateful for that. When I saw him walking down the hall away from me to go in for those x-rays today, I don't know what it was. It was just that moment, because I drove him up there. Just one of those moments that I know is going to stick in my mind for a long time. We're not done. I'm coming back.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. Let me see if I can find what we need to enter into our next chapter. Where'd you go? I need the video. I need the video. Wait for it. Wait for it. There. No, there. Oh, there it is. I found it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Truspiracies. So again, this is for Sandy Sunshine and all of you. But she kind of inspired me to do a new Truspiracies segment tonight because we haven't done one of these things for a long time. Normally, I would travel into the future, pick up a copy of the Inquirer or the Examiner or one of the other truthful tabloids and read the news of next week today. Well, I didn't go to the supermarket in the future. What I did is I've ventured into the future, and you can join me now because we are now in the future. And we're going to go online and take a look at the real news, which are Truspiracies online at these tabloid websites to see what the heck they're talking about. And we're going to start, I think, yes, with, we'll go here first of all, to the National Enquirer, the granddaddy, the king of tabloids and Truspiracies. What are they talking about over here? Oh, real news, like OnlyFans model slams Florida Republican politicians 50% sin tax proposal. Oh, I'm not going to comment. My eyes are focused on her eyes. Eyes up. Eyes up. I'm looking straight into Sophie's eyes. How about you guys? OnlyFans creator Sophie Rain slammed Florida Republican gubernatorial candidate James Fishback's proposal to slap a 50% sin tax on OnlyFans income. Wow. Wow. What about the consumers of such content? Rain called the idea the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. How do you charge a sin tax to a Christian who hasn't sinned? She said in a statement to People on Tuesday, January 13th. No one ever forced me to start an OnlyFans. It was my decision. So I don't need a 31-year-old man telling me I can't sell my body online. How do you sell your body online? Well, I guess the visuals, right? I am a Christian. It's all in your mind, folks. What's sinful? I am a Christian. God knows what I am doing, she continued, and I know he is happy with me. That's the only validation I need. Well, yeah, I think Jesus would not be quite so judgmental, I think. Fishback took to social media claiming that Rain will owe the state $42 million if and when he is elected and implements his plan. Does she make that much money? Oh my God. I'm on the wrong platform. I got to get off YouTube and get on OnlyFans. He is focusing on me because he needs the attention he can get at this point, which honestly is sad if you think about it, Rain continued. He is first condemning what I do, but at the same time picking me out of the bunch to start some type of viral beef. Yeah, no, I don't think so. He thinks he can go after the biggest, but let's see how that turns out for him. I don't even know who this woman is. Oh my God, eyes up. Eyes up, boys. I gotta scroll down. Just keep going. Go. It won't go. Okay. Fishback, a long shot to win the race for Florida governor, explained his proposal in an interview with NXR Studios on Monday, January 12th. What's the date today? Oh my God. Well, that's because we're in the future and looking back. It is called a sin tax because it is a sin, number one. But the purpose of the sin tax in economics is to disincentivize and deter behavior, he said. As Florida governor, I don't want young women who could otherwise be mothers raising families, rearing children. I don't want them to be selling their bodies to sick men online. Oh my God. Okay. And I don't want young, impressionable men who have strayed from Christ, who have strayed from our Lord and Savior, to be told and to be drawn into lust and to have their entire brain rewired. Shouldn't he be talking to Elon about that? Like he's literally rewind. Okay, whatever. No, actually, it's her. She's the brain rewirer, I guess. Not Elon Musk. I've been all my concern completely misplaced. Well, if someone was going to rewire your brain, would you want Elon doing it or her? I think I know which one I would choose. I'm a little too old for that. Way too old for that. No, thank you. Don't need the headaches. Oh my God. Oh, look at this. There's an ad that just popped up. I'm divorced, a divorced single mom. My husband left me alone. #mom life, #single mom. And Mia's stories. I'm not clicking on that. Oh my God. They're constantly monitoring, aren't they? Like, how did they know that this old geezer was scrolling down looking at something that had sin in it and a picture of, what's her name again? Who is she? I can't even remember. I'm too old. Sophie Rain. Sophie Rain. Sophie Rain. Now I have a flood of sex ads coming on my feed here on the computer. You probably can't see them at home. Such is the nature of the internet. See, you just click on Sophie Rain or someone similar, and the next thing you know, you're bombarded with smut. They're going to come and tax the hell out of me now. Thanks for that, Sophie. What else do we have going on? Okay, so let's move over to the National Examiner tonight. I'm sorry, Dad. Don't tell my wife. Okay, National Examiner. You're all guilty. You all looked. You're all sinners. Natalie Wood, Demi Moore, and more stars who showed off their sultry sides in film. What is it with the sex? Sex sells. Okay, this is right up to date. This is a new one. Yeah. These stars weren't afraid to bear all, or almost all, Elizabeth Berkley's Showgirls. Do you remember? I don't know. You're probably not old enough to remember. That's the movie that is her claim to fame. I remember when that movie came out. And she did get some other roles after that. She was on that TV show Saved by the Bell, and that's why it exploded. That's why it did as well as it did at the box office, because they took the Saved by the Bell girl from that sitcom, young girl, and then ended up doing that movie about being a stripper or Las Vegas showgirl. Yeah. It was NC-17 rated. I thought it was, depends on where you are. I thought it was a more restrictive rating than that. Jennifer Lopez in Hustlers. I never saw that. Natalie Portman. Yeah, she was in Star Wars, one of the Star Wars movies, right? Yeah. And I never saw that movie either. I knew about it. I think she did this one after Star Wars, the Star Wars flicks that she was in. Earning an Oscar nomination, Natalie trades her Star Wars finery for undies as a dancer in this daring exploration of human emotion. It was a movie Closer. And there's Demi Moore in Striptease. I remember that too. I did see that. Sinful. And this often seen as a cheesy look at the peel-off profession, Demi doffs her duds. And the bandit himself, Burt Reynolds, is the bad guy. Jennifer Aniston, We Are the Millers. She looks like she's about to beat the crap out of somebody. I didn't see that. Okay. In this crime comedy, Jennifer plays a broke stripper who becomes part of a fake family. Might as well be fake. Everything else is freaking fake, created by a veteran pot dealer in a bid to bring marijuana into the United States. Natalie Wood and Gypsy. That's an oldie. And here's Salma Hayek wearing a lobster crab thing on her head from dusk till dawn with a snake. Snakes. I know there's this visual reference to something when you get a snake, I guess, but I don't like the snakes. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. Didn't used to when I was a kid, do today. Salma's seductive skin-showing moves are a prelude to a shocking secret. The sexy strippers are vile vampires about to put the bite on their patrons. Why is this even news? It's not, but nobody cares because it's all about the sin. Daryl Hannah dancing at the Blue Iguana. I remember Daryl Hannah. She was in the, what was that? Splash with Tom Hanks, I think it was, right? She played the mermaid. Do you remember that? That was the big movie for her. Not this one. And Marissa Tomei and The Wrestler. Oh, and here's one for you, ladies, or whatever your persuasion might be. Channing Tatum, Magic Mike Trilogy. Woohoo! Yeah. I don't know. If I were to take my shirt off, yeah, I think I could hold my own. You're welcome, ladies. Okay. You know what I am going to do here? I didn't get Sandy on here to talk about this, but she was talking to me about Nash the Slash. And while this is, I guess it's in the true conspiracies vein. It's just entertainment, but it's also a little bit of Canadiana. Oh, well, you know what? Hang on. Let's just do this one here because we got to do a weekly world news scroll before we move on to Nash the Slash. I don't know if any of you Americanos would even know who Nash the Slash is. I know he made an occasional dip down into American territory to perform, but I don't know how popular he was down there. Here we go. Weekly World News. Out now in select theaters and available on Amazon, Apple TV, Google Play, YouTube Movies, blah, blah, blah. The Zombie Wedding. That looks interesting. I'd actually like to see that. It's in select theaters and available now. Wow. The Zombie Wedding. That looks pretty good. I'd like to do that. Happy New Year 2026 out. Government renames it year one. Well, why not? Right? Reality can be anything Donald Trump says it can be in 2026. And yet the irony in all of that is that the MAGA faithful are so dedicated to opposing anybody that chooses their reality. Aren't we supposed to be against all that? Like, you can't use those pronouns. I won't comply with compelled speech. Yeah. What is it? Oh, yeah, the Gulf of Mexico, right? What are you calling it these days? Are you compelled to say it? Just saying. Recycling gone wrong. 2,000-year-old woman found in Greek trash. A shocking discovery in an unlikely place. Archaeologists in Greece were left speechless this week after an ancient woman, estimated to be over 2,000 years old, was discovered inside a discarded garbage bag. The bizarre find has stunned experts and left locals questioning how an artifact of such historical significance ended up treated like an empty yogurt container. Look at the skeleton. Look at the length of the hair. How did the hair grow so straight underneath the skeleton? Look at the length of that. It's amazing, isn't it? It's a true conspiracy. Darn fools in Washington shut down the government again, and I'm about ready to shut down my veins. This is by Ed Anger. That's right. It's me, your favorite red-faced ranter from the holler spitting mad as wet hen in a hailstorm. Weekly World News don't pay me enough to put up with this hogwash, but somebody's got to say it. Listen up, you pencil-necked latte sipping bureaucrats and their soy boy sidekicks in Congress, another government shutdown again. What? What else is he saying here? I swear on my grandpappy's moonshine still, if I have to hear one more sob story about furloughed park rangers crying over empty picnic tables, I'm going to march on the Capitol with my deer rifle and demand a recount of my blood pressure pills. Talking about healthcare. Well, we've been down that road tonight. Okay, let's get to Nash the Slash, shall we? Do you know who Nash the Slash was? Oh, one other thing. I just have to mention this. Why the thumbnail? Why did I choose that title? Because we were talking about the lobsters and the ostriches, and the thumbnail said Eating Earthlings. That's because PETA, the animal rights group, they launched one of their latest campaigns, I guess, was Stop Eating Other Earthlings. So I just thought we'd take a look at this. And as part of that, oh, well, before we show you how that went down, they have this Dolphin Defenders Rally. And this is actually real news, sort of, or whatever. Oh, hang on. There we go. Dolphin Defenders rally against Alamo Bowl over their SeaWorld promo. Following the death of Katina, an orca who was snatched from her family's pod at the age of 2 and was the last wild captured orca to survive at SeaWorld Orlando, PETA supporters descended on the abusement park with a B to call on the Alamo Bowl to cut ties with SeaWorld, where dolphins and whales are denied everything that's natural to them. Which makes me want to update the story in Niagara Falls, at Marineland, Niagara Falls, Canada. And as of today, the park remains for sale, shut down though, undergoing restructuring. And that whale issue, well, there's still 30 beluga whales there, where they're trying to find a home for them. Their future uncertain. They previously housed orcas at Marineland in Niagara Falls, Canada, and one of them, known as Kiska, became known as the world's loneliest orca, died back in 2023. They had quite a few whales die at Marineland over the years, in business for quite a long time there. Not anymore. They're still housed in tanks at the abandoned, well, it's not really abandoned, it's just shut down. But a lot of ongoing animal welfare concerns there. And concerns about, even having enough money to keep them alive instead of unalived. The park was threatening to unalive them or euthanize them because of the financial strain, the high cost of keeping them alive, tending to them, caring for them. But when nobody's going through the gates anymore because demand has dropped off, because public attitudes and towards all of these things have changed over the years, then this is the situation at the tail end of it, right? So there's an upside and a downside to all of it. Long run is those parks aren't going to open again. Once gone, they're going to be gone. You never know what people are going to think like in the future, though, because history tends to repeat itself, and you might say that human beings are cruel by nature, maybe. I have to wonder. People more concerned about ostriches than people, I think, these days. Although it's odd, isn't it? How the orca, well, they're not orcas, they're belugas, the ones left, and about 30 of them there, and they just keep slipping away from people's minds. Somebody should do something. to make sure that they are cared for. It'll take a lot of money. Regulations. Anyway, this was, so this is back to the PETA campaign. Stop Eating Fellow Earthlings. They got some assistance from some extraterrestrials on New Year's Day and created a photo op for this campaign, basically to stop eating animals. So I thought, I won't run the audio in case we get a copyright strike, but that's the way it went down in Newark, New Jersey, as the aliens took to the streets to fight for animal rights, animal justice, fighting for the snails, the escargot, the ostriches, which also are a food source, and, of course, the lobsters, which are still legally boiled alive in Canada. Although I'm told that the more humane way to kill the lobsters is to stab them in the head, right between the eyes, before you put them in the water, which is what I did with the fish that I caught when I was a kid and still do. I make sure the fish is dead before I start cleaning it. Kill it as quickly as possible because I don't even want to hurt a fish. I don't hate fish. I don't hate lobsters, and I sure don't hate ostriches. Some of that stuff tastes pretty darn good. That's life. And that's the way it is on this January 14th, 2026. I have another people, because dogs are people too, waiting for me. So, Cosmo duty calls. See you guys tomorrow. 7 p.m. Eastern on the flip side. Thank you.
Well, I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry about freedom, running and touching the sky. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. Cosmo's got them paws that just itch to roam. He's chasing his dreams, he's far from home. With a heart full of love and a spirit so free, he's living his life wild and carefree. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a blur. Cosmo's on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the legs. Now the night's getting cold and the sky's turning gray, but Cosmo's still out there, he's miles away. He's not looking back, he's got his path to tread. With every step, he's leaving his bed. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. So if you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmo's run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun. And maybe one day, when you're feeling alone, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog. never heard a bird. A heart full of love and a spirit so free. He's living his life wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a word. Cosmo's on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all